All right, then, good afternoon, everyone. Today is September 12th, 2020. This is a special meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being held in Albany. Present by telephone is Chairman Bradley. Chairman Bradley.
Yes, I'm here.
Also, as can be seen on video, we have Commissioners Ford and Commissioners Fan. We also have staff in attendance, General Counsel Meyerhoff by video. We have Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Roberts on the telephone.
I'm here, thanks.
And myself, Secretary Donahue, in the Albany offices, also by video. Today we have 4 items on the calendar. They are all requests from Council's office for summary orders of suspension. The first item is agenda number 1139ZZ, Dutchess OP 2191410. The licensee is Last Train Stop, Inc.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. Senior Attorney Caraminal here on this request for summary order suspension on, the Last Train Stop, Inc., DBA Emmett Mahoney's Irish Pub and Steakhouse in Poughkeepsie. The original license issue date on this one was October 24th of 2013. And the case number here is 143730. Last night, September 11th, 2020, 40 investigators, Lipschitz, Link, and Tucker entered the licensed premises approximately 11:40 p.m. and observed approximately 50 patrons in the interior of the licensed premises, approximately 25 of which were clustered in and around the bar area. There was no social distancing and no face masks being utilized if there were any face masks, they were clearly the exception to the rule. What is in the report is there was no food observed with any of the patrons of the establishment. There were also observed multiple groups of patrons dancing to music being played by a DJ. At one point, Investigator Lipschitz did purchase a beer at the bar. No food was required, was offered, much less required to be purchased by the investigator. At 12:20, when the investigators exited the interior of the premises and went outside, there were now approximately 75 patrons in the licensed premises. And again, no change in the conditions. There were no social distancing and nothing being enforced by the staff. There was apparently approximately 10 to 15 staff on hand, and none appear to be doing anything to enforce compliance with the governor's executive orders. On their way out, the investigators observed approximately 25 patrons in the outdoor patio, with approximately 10 to 15 of those standing in a group without face masks. Of note on this one, also there was dozens of community complaints about this particular premises in the file. And if you take a look at the pictures in the file, it appeared to be a fairly packed house last evening. Due to the foregoing, the Office of Counsel believes it's simply not reasonable to believe that these licensees don't know that there is a pandemic, don't know about the governor's executive orders, and it's not reasonable to believe that they could be operating their licensed premises simply without any knowledge of what's going on in the world. Due to those reasons, the Office of Counsel hereby requested immediate summary order suspension for the license.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Gary Meyerhoff here. This is, one of several areas that we're starting to get complaints about in college towns with the return of college students to the neighborhood. And the complaint activity is what led us there. And, they're just operating a bar as if nothing's going on, as if it was the summer of 2019. I don't know how a place like this can be trusted. Thanks.
With that, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
Paul, do they have the adverse history?
There was a focal point case circa 2014. It was litigated all the way up through the appeal up until 2018. Looks like they ended up paying about $7,500 on it. Other than that, there's 3 or 4 letters of advice since 2014, but that's the only other adverse history.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
Council, is dancing or a DJ allowed on their method of operation?
I'm going to need a minute for that one, sir.
All right. I'm only asking if it was just BAU for them.
All racing to try to find it.
Yeah, I don't care to have that one at my fingertips.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford, we will take a look to see whether there's an additional violation
Okay.
of the method of operation. We will also take a closer look at the advertisement, which is reported in the investigative report you see. Our guidance does not permit this premises to advertise music events. We'll have to take a look at that and see whether that's an additional violation. But the reason we're bringing the matter to the board is because the place is packed. They're not serving people sitting down. They're not serving people food, etc.
Understood. Thank you.
Chairman Bradley, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
All right, with that, I'll call for your votes. First, Commissioner Fan.
Given the evidence presented by counsel, it's clear that an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I vote to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
Based on evidence provided by counsel, I'll vote to summarily suspend as well.
And Chairman Bradley.
Based on the evidence supplied by counsel, it's obvious that this licensee is not following the executive orders and has become a risk to public health, safety, and welfare, so I vote to summarily suspend.
Right, the next item I have is agenda number 1139, AAA. It's Richmond OP 1284941. The licensee is JKCT 9984 LLC.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, Senior Attorney Karamanal here on this one as well for a request for summary order suspension for, let's see, Joyce's Tavern. It's in Richmond Avenue in Staten Island. The original license issue date on this one, May 5th, 2015. Let's see, last night, September 11th, 2020 at 9:25 p.m., investigator Matthew Davis approached the licensed premises and observed a essentially capacity-filled rear patio area of the licensed premises, just filled with patrons. He did not observe any violations out in that area. When he proceeded inside, as you'll see from the pictures in the file, Investigator Davis noted that 10 patrons were seated at a table in the interior of the premises, appeared to be consuming beverages, and one other patron was seated at another table. She appeared to be consuming food and wine. Investigator Davis then proceeded to confront one of the owners that evening, who was Joseph O'Toole. And the owner confirmed that the tent top had just finished eating and stated that he seated them in the interior of the premises because there was a pregnant woman in the party tent. Preventing on-premises consumption of food and drink in New York City has been central to the governor's executive orders. It's been widely reported via media sources. The Office of Counsel believes it's simply not reasonable to believe that a licensed on-premises establishment owner in New York City could be unaware of his responsibility to prevent interior dining, at least until September 30th, I believe. At no time since the beginning of the public health emergency has interior dining been permitted in New York City, inside on-premises dining. And in fact, this owner had an excuse that there was a pregnant woman in the party, and that's why he violated the rules. Due to the foregoing, the Office of Counsel hereby requests a summary order suspension for this premises.
All right then, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
Yes, did you say when this place was licensed, Counselor?
Licensed in 2015, sir. May
Any
5th, 2015.
Any adverse history?
0, sir.
Thank you very much. No other questions.
All right then, Chairman Bradley, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
All right, with that, I'll call for the votes of the full board. First, Commissioner Fan.
Given the evidence presented by counsel, this location is continuing service inside while the pandemic is ongoing. This place is an imminent threat to public health, welfare, and safety. I vote to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
Based on evidence presented of patrons being served indoors, which has been specifically prohibited in New York City since the beginning of all of this, I have to vote to summarily suspend as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I vote to summarily suspend based on the evidence presented. The licensee is a risk to public health, safety, and welfare.
All right, the next item I have is agenda number 1139 triple B. It's Madison OP 2503026. The licensee is Marie E. Snyder.
Morning, Jamie Gallagher appearing on this matter. This premises, which is aptly named Risky Business Cafe, is located in Madison County in Hamilton, New York. It's been licensed as a OP since 1991. Method of operation is a tavern, reportedly with a kitchen and a cook. On September 11th of 2020, multiple SLA investigators proceeded to the location to conduct an inspection. They spent about 10 minutes outside observing. There were approximately 12 to 15 patrons lingering and congregating in front of the licensed premises without social distancing. These patrons were not observed consuming any beverages or food. The reason that they were lingering in front is because the premises was overcrowded inside, and they were waiting to get into the location. At about 10:54, the investigators attempted to enter the premises. They were initially blocked by staff at the door. After they insisted that an inspection was necessary, they were ultimately admitted. And once inside, they observed 50 to 70 patrons inside the licensed premises. Should be noted that the posted occupancy is 86, so they're well over the 50% capacity permitted for inside service in this particular location in this county. The investigators observed that a majority of the patrons were standing and consuming beverages without face masks and without social distancing. Food was not observed anywhere. Patrons were also observed playing foosball. The owner was on site bartending. She was asked if there was food available and pointed to a sign which stated, "We have to have some food to sell in order to be open. Popcorn, $1. Ice cream sandwiches, $1. Nobody was observed with an ice cream sandwich, and popcorn is not a substantive food item. The licensee is being charged with the following violations of the executive order. 202.41 for the lack of social distancing inside the establishment. 202.52 for failure to serve food with alcoholic beverages or substantial food. 202.38 and 202.43 for the patrons lingering and congregating in front of the establishment. Failure to exercise adequate supervision. And the charges are entered and the notice will issue promptly. Attached to the what you have in front of you is an email from the investigator, which serves as the report in this case, and photos. The premises does have disciplinary history. In 2019, October of 19, there was a sale to minor. In March of 2020, the full board imposed a $6,000 fine. There was also a sale to minor and an extension of premises in 2015, and in 2016, the full board imposed $3,500. The owner was present in this case. Given the current environment, it's not reasonable to believe that she could be unaware of the rules, which leaves us with the conclusion to draw that she's either unwilling or unable to enforce these executive orders. Either way, the licensee clearly cannot be trusted to operate pursuant to the orders moving forward, and operating in this manner is a risk to the public health, welfare, and safety. And I would request that the board consider summarily suspending this license.
Thank you, Jamie. Just to add, the 50% inside limit isn't 50% of people standing and drinking and being in a bar atmosphere. The 50% would also have to include people properly seated and being served food and drink. And that wasn't even attempted here. And the note shows that the licensee knows the rules and decided to violate them anyway. Knew that there was a food requirement, but either didn't take steps to find out how to meet that food requirement, or knew what it was and didn't follow it. So this is the exact kind of bar scene that the executive orders are designed to prevent, the kind that could result in a super spreader event. And that's why we're bringing it to the board for a summary suspension.
All right, with that, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions?
Counselor, you said something earlier, Gary, about complaints from another place with schools opening, colleges opening, and kids returning. So was there any, I looked at the pictures and they look kind of young. Is there any thought that some of these folks might be students from Colgate? Counselor Jamie?
Well, the bar is located in Hamilton, New York, which is where Colgate University is also located. So,
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you that, based on the photographs, the individuals in the bar do appear to be in their early 20s.
Yeah.
Are most likely students of the university, yes.
Yep. All right. I don't have any further questions.
All right, then, Chairman Bradley, do you have any questions?
No, just to add to what Ms. Gallagher was saying, it's not just Colgate. Hamilton College is there as well, which is, when I'm reading this, makes this, as counsel pointed out, a possible risk of a major spreader going back to these universities.
Actually, Hamilton is in Clinton, just not exactly there, but not far away, to your point.
All right, then, with that, I'll call for the votes of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
Given the evidence provided by Council Gallagher, it's clear that this location is an imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I vote to summarily suspend this license.
Commissioner Ford.
I vote to summarily suspend for the same reasons.
And Chairman Bradley.
I vote to summarily suspend based on the evidence presented by counsel. It's obvious that this licensee, as Counsel Gallagher pointed out, is either unwilling or unable to abide by the executive orders, and is a risk to the public health, safety, and welfare.
All right, then the next item I have, 1139 CCC. NASA OP 11865553. Licensee is Manhasset Restaurant LLC.
Good afternoon, Alex Lloyd for Counsel's Office. Counsel's Office submits the subject licensee, Manhattan Restaurant LLC, DBA Tofu Modern Asian, to the members of the authority to consider an emergency order of summary suspension of its on-premises liquor license pursuant to SAPA. It's located at 2014 C Northern Boulevard, Manhattan, Manhasset, New York. The license was issued 8/21/2007. It's OP license. The method of operation indicates there will be no security at the licensed premises. On September 5th, there was a EO task force visit to the licensed premises. The investigator there noted that the bar inside the premises was lined with patrons, some standing side to side. There was no social distancing and no masks. That visit was undisclosed. There was a follow-up visit on September 11th by SLA investigator Pope. He noted that first there was a line to get into the premises and waiting for tables. A lot of these people were not social distancing and were not wearing masks. Additionally, once inside, he noted there were several patrons standing up, patrons drinking, socializing throughout the licensed premises. There were several patrons standing at the bar. Right now, indoor dining is restricted to 50% capacity. That includes sitting down, and that includes everyone also social distancing at the 6 feet requirement. He counted 118 people indoors, which is above the 50% capacity. And also, as you can see from the pictures, people are clearly not sitting down and clearly not social distancing. Additionally, he witnessed several patrons purchase drinks from the bar without food and then take them away. He spoke with the principal who was there at the time. The principal said that he was not aware that there was such a food requirement at this time. Additionally, investigator Pope observed several ABC violations, including the fact that the license was not displayed properly, as it was obscured by some liquor bottles. The pregnancy sign and prohibited sale signs were both not displayed at all. And there was a security guard out front, Alex Durst, working at the licensed premises, even though the method of operation indicated there would be no security. The licensee at this time cannot claim to be unaware of the executive orders and the SLA and DOH guidance. They've both been in place for months now. The executive orders were designed and implemented to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and clearly this licensee cannot be trusted to follow the guidance and the executive orders. The licensee was clearly packing the licensed premises full of people, allowing them to stand, walk around freely, socialize, and flaunting the food requirement, all indicative as though we're operating as if it were September 2019. At this time, there's no more imminent risk to the public health, safety, and welfare than to permit individuals to congregate and socialize indoors in such a manner. And in this way, the licensee is essentially discouraging social distancing. Therefore, we respectfully request that the members summarily suspend this license.
All right, with that, Commissioner Fan, do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Ford, any questions?
Any adverse history, Alex?
Since they were licensed in 2007, they have just one adverse history matter in 2009. There was a maximum occupancy violation and a fire extinguisher violation.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Bradley, any questions?
No, I have no question.
All right, with that, I'll call for the vote of the members. First, Commissioner Fan.
This licensee has shown a pattern of willful violation of the governor's executive orders surrounding COVID-19. I find that there's imminent threat to public health, safety, and welfare, and I vote to summarily suspend.
Commissioner Ford,
Based on evidence provided by counsel and the imminent threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, I also vote to summarily suspend.
and Chairman Bradley.
I vote to summarily suspend based on the photographs and the evidence presented. It's clear this licensee is a risk to public health, safety, and welfare, and I vote to summarily suspend.
Okay, with that, I have no other items on the calendar. Chairman, do you have anything else?
No, thank you all, attorneys and commissioners, and Tom and his people.
All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.